Well, Father's Day was over the weekend. Got to spend a lot of lovely time with my father-in-law. Got to talk to my dad. Got to see my youngest son, Cannon. And got a lovely card from my daughter, Caitlin, who unfortunately is working, so she wasn't able to join us. But I got to tell you, honestly, this must be a sign of getting older, but I now keep all cards and I cherish them.
Aww.
Because they do really mean something. And it's not often that just in passing and in life that you ever really take the time to say how you feel on things. But I think I'm getting to that point now that I always, like, over the weekend, I got sappy with my dad. I sent him a lovely text and I said, don't leave anything ever unsaid. Yeah, I start to get to that point where I realize that is the worst thing that you can do. If you really appreciate somebody and they've done something for you, say it now. Don't wait on it.
Say, thank you, Kevin. I do have something. You are a horrible child. I wanted to... I'm just kidding.
The good stuff. The bad stuff you can hold on to.
Keep the bad stuff inside on Father's Day at least.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so now I keep all my cards that I get because it is lovely. Because one day you might want to look back and be like, this is what people saying. So I got this lovely card from my daughter. She sent this, and she calls herself your favorite daughter. She is my only daughter. But yeah, she said, Dad, there's so many things I could say, but above it all, I just want to say thank you. Your strength, love, and quiet sacrifices have shaped my life in ways that I'm only beginning to understand. You joke about being a bad dad, but that's not true. Watching you live your life with honesty, humility, and deep faith has been one of the greatest gifts that I've ever received. Because of you, I know what it looks like to love deeply, work hard, and trust in something greater than myself. You inspire me every day. I'm so grateful God chose you to be my father. Thank you for being the man that you are.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Isn't that so nice?
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. Now cry.
That was my goal. I'm like,
I love my
you.
Favorite line in that whole thing is quiet sacrifice.
Yeah. Honestly, that does mean something because sometimes I think you do. Look, there are a lot of parents that you make sacrifices and you just sometimes wonder, you're like, does anybody ever even notice? Or are they just so consumed with the fact they got to do what they want to do? They're living their life great that they ever really think. Because if you're doing something awesome, there's probably somebody that sacrificed something, either money, time, their own desires for you to do what you want to do.
I sacrifice for my kids too, but I tell them. I'm not quiet about it. I'm like, you're the reason that mommy can't afford a first class air ticket and mommy's flying coach. You're the reason.
But it is nice to feel appreciated on something.
It is.
I see what you're saying. Sometimes I bet it feels like a thankless job at times.
Yeah.
Where, you're having a bad day, but then everyone else is having a bad day and you got to be a pillar.
And my daughter got me that book. I've seen it on Instagram where you're supposed to get it to your dad and it's asking all these questions and you have him write down experiences and stories and really kind of documenting his life. And I have heard some people talk about it. In fact, I was just watching, I'm all into that Welcome to Wrexham with Ryan Reynolds. And he was talking about his own dad that didn't ever really open up. And he said, if there's one thing I regret about being his son is I never really pressed him to tell me stories and never really got to know the true person that he was. And, sometimes you just are never in that environment. And you might have people that don't really open up much. They sit there and they're just kind of a mystery, but then they pass and then you realize I don't even know if I felt like I knew my own dad.
I didn't tap into the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad did something that it was kind of unusual. He went out to Pennsylvania to his hometown and met up with some old friends back in high school that he never would ever do that. And I go, you're going out there to do that? He's like, yeah. And I think it might be age. I think it might be just kind of wanting to go back and remembering some stuff. And I think when you do get older, I think you're supposed to have a different perspective on life.
I think you start realizing how valuable those moments were. You look at them in a different way. I know, boy, I was guilty. It took me a lot of time because I was just kind of going through the motions. I was enjoying them, but I wasn't realizing how special some of those moments were. It just seemed like if you would have asked me 20 years ago about yesterday, I'd be like, it's just, whatever. It's just kind of an average, ordinary day. But actually being with people and getting to spend some uninterrupted time, you don't realize how valuable that is. And it kind of does put it all into perspective.
And sometimes it doesn't even have to be this grand vacation that you're on. Sometimes some of the biggest moments in life are just something very small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you got to spend some cherished time with your dad. And that book you can find, it's all over Instagram. I was thinking about getting it for my own dad, which is kind of weird when my daughter gave it to me. Because I was like going, I thought this was for much older people. So,
you old?
I'm like, I've gotten to that point where my daughter's afraid that I'm going to pass away any day now.
It's all about perspective.
I'm like, thanks. I mean, dad here soon.
Can we re-gift this to Grandpa?
That's what I thought. I'm like, oh, yeah. I felt like my dad's the one who should get this, not me.
I still feel like you're young, but I'm old too.
True.